These 8 advanced English words will lift your fluency and your IELTS, TOEFL, or Cambridge score, and you won't just memorize them. You'll meet each one inside the story, feel what it means, then prove you caught it. That's how your brain keeps them for good. History remembers Captain Hale as the fool who marched 12 men to their deaths. The frozen journal I pulled from the ice last week tells a very different story, one that, 100 years too late, finally vindicates him. I am a glaciologist. I did not come to Antarctica looking for ghosts. But 90 meters down a melting crevasse, my team found a small tin box, and inside it, wrapped in oilskin, the journal of a man named Tom Reed. Reed had sailed south in 1911 with the Hale expedition, 15 men bound for the South Pole, into the most desolate place on Earth. Only 3 of them ever came home. For 100 years, the world has blamed one man for the other 12. The story everyone knows is simple. Captain Hale was proud and reckless. He pushed his men too far, turned back too late, and his arrogance killed them in the snow. The newspapers condemned him. The history books condemned him. His very name became a byword for foolish pride. Tom Reed's journal tells it differently, and Reed was there. They had marched for 2 months across a white, desolate nothing when the food first ran scarce. By the time they were 3 days from the pole, 3 days from glory, from their names in every newspaper on Earth, the supplies had grown bitterly scarce indeed. Every man wanted to go on. The pole was so close they could almost see it. To turn back now, with the prize within reach, would make Hale a laughingstock, the captain who lost his nerve at the very edge of history. Hale turned them back. "He stood in the wind," Reed wrote, "and he told us the truth that no one wanted to hear, that we did not have the food to reach the pole and return alive. That glory 3 days away was worth nothing if it killed us. He chose our lives over his own name. I have never seen a braver thing, and I knew even then that the world would call it cowardice." Reed was right. When the survivors limped home without the pole, the world did call it cowardice. They never knew what came afterward, out on the ice. The retreat was a nightmare. A blizzard caught them on the open glacier and would not lift. For 9 days, the blizzard screamed around their 2 small tents, and the food, already scarce, dwindled away to almost nothing. Men began to perish. Quietly, in their sleep, one by one, the weakest of them perished in the cold. And Hale, strong, capable Captain Hale, who might so easily have lived, began to give his own rations away. "He gave his food to the youngest of us," Reed wrote, in a hand grown shaky with cold. "He gave up his place in the warm center of the tent to the sick. He was the strongest man among us, and he made himself the weakest, on purpose, so that the rest of us might have a chance." On the 9th night, with the blizzard still raging and the food finally gone, Captain Hale did the last valiant thing of his life. He waited until the others were asleep. Then he wrote a single line in his own journal, pulled on his boots, and walked out into the storm, so that there would be 3 fewer mouths and a little more food for the men he had led. He never came back. They found the rations he had hidden for them in the morning. They never found him. 3 men lived to tell it, but they came home broken and ashamed of surviving, and the world had already decided that Hale was a fool. Reed tried to tell the truth once, to a newspaper, and was called a liar protecting a dead man's pride. After that, he simply wrote it all down, sealed it in a tin, and carried his captain's secret and his ruined legacy to his own grave. I have spent my whole career reading the ice. I never once expected it to hand me a man's lost honor. But here it is, in Tom Reed's careful, frozen hand, proof that the most valiant leader of that age was buried under a century of lies. Captain Hale did not perish because he was reckless. He perished because he was the bravest of them all. And now, at last, the ice has given me the power to vindicate him, to lift away 100 years of blame, and to hand back to a forgotten hero the one thing the world stole from him, a true and honored legacy. He earned it out there, alone, in the dark, so that other men could go home. The least the rest of us can do now is finally vindicate his name and remember the valiant captain exactly as he was. Now, did you catch all 8? Let's find out. A noun for a violent, blinding snowstorm. It's a fierce storm of howling wind and thick, driving snow. One caught the men out on the open glacier for 9 days. They were trapped helpless in their tents by a screaming what?
The word is blizzard.
The blizzard buried the whole village under deep white snow. An adjective for being available only in very small amounts. It describes water in a desert or jobs in a hard year. On the long march, the men's food slowly became this, with supplies growing. What every meal had to be shared?
The word is scarce.
Fresh water became scarce after many weeks without rain. A verb meaning to die, especially in a terrible way. It's a formal word for dying, often in a disaster. One by one, the weakest men did this in the freezing cold. Many of the crew would do what on the long retreat home?
The word is ppɛrɪʃ.
Hundreds of sailors perished when the great ship finally sank. An adjective for being bleak, empty, and lifeless. Think of an endless frozen plain with no living thing in sight. Antarctica was the most this place the men had ever seen. They marched for weeks across a white, what kind of nothing?
The word is desolate.
The abandoned town felt cold, silent, and utterly desolate. A verb meaning to blame or declare guilty, harshly and publicly. It's what an angry crowd does when it decides who is to blame. For a century, the history books did this to Captain Hale. The newspapers were quick to do what to him? To brand him a reckless fool.
The word is condemn.
Leaders around the world rushed to condemn the cruel attack. A noun for what someone leaves behind, especially their reputation. It's the lasting mark a person leaves on the world after they are gone. History had stolen Hale's and replaced it with shame. The diary could finally restore the captain's ruined what?
The word is legacy.
The great teacher left a legacy that lasted for generations. An adjective for being brave and determined. Think of a knight who charges in fearlessly to protect the weak. Giving away his food was the most this thing Hale ever did. Walking out into the storm was a what kind of act of pure sacrifice?
The word is valiant.
The firefighters made a valiant effort to save the trapped family. A verb meaning to clear someone of blame and prove them right. It's restoring the good name of a person who was wrongly accused. The frozen diary could finally do this for Captain Hale. A century too late, the truth would do what to the honest captain? Clear his name?
The word is vindicate.
New evidence finally helped to vindicate the innocent man. Quick recap. How many do you still remember?
ʻblɪzərd. Scarce. ppɛrɪʃ. Desolate. Condemn. Legacy. Valiant. Vindicate.
A new English story every day. Subscribe and learn advanced words the way your brain actually keeps them. Inside a story you won't forget.